My channel. I'm Sissy, life coach and motivation speaker. And here in this channel, we speak about everything spiritual connected to the physical as well, because we are physical beings. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience as well, right? So today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. I haven't heard people talk about it before, but it's something that's very interesting because of the fact of mental health is a big issue, right? Now, how does the brain health and spiritual health connect? The bridge between awakening and cognitive health. Okay. Most people separate brain health from the spiritual awakening, but the two are deeply intertwined, apparently. Your brain is the instrument, okay, and your consciousness is the musician. Your consciousness uses your brain, like how it uses your body and those energy fields we speak about, which is your chakras in your body, okay? So let's talk more about this concept. Number one, the brain is the hardware of awakening. Your consciousness, your energy, your higher self, right, uses your brain and your body. But today we're going to speak about the brain, specifically the brain. The brain is the hardware of awakening. Even the highest levels of spiritual insights rely on a healthy, regulated brain, right? Your brain is that organ that allows you to be who you are, to express yourself, to talk, to walk, to socialize with other people, to understand life in general. Your brain is the organ, the hardware. Okay? Your consciousness is that energy that's coming from your higher self. It's that energy that actually makes your brain work properly and makes you more conscious, makes your conscious being, right? So the brain as the hardware of awakening. Let's discuss it more. Even at the highest level of spiritual insights, we rely on the healthy, regulated brain, right? A balanced brain looks like, number one, emotional regulation, or maybe up to emotional maturity or emotional intelligence, but you're able to regulate your emotions, right? Number two, a clear perception of who you are as well is important. Stable attention, you're able to have stable attention. You get what I'm trying to say? You're not intoxicated, you're not like unbalanced in your attention. And then the last one is intuitive sensitivity. Your intuition depends on your healthy brain. When you have a healthy brain, you're able to connect or zone into your or tap into your intuition. An unhealthy brain looks like anxiety and depression, which is very common in today's society. The anxiety and depression is even seen to be as normal now because we live in a world full of anxiety, right? And depression, people not happy with their life experience. Brain fog, not being able to focus well for reasons, unhealthy lifestyles cause brain fog, okay? Dysregulated emotions, feeling not good about yourself and about life, being kind of scattered in your mind. You get up in the morning and you're feeling not so good, don't want to do anything, you're feeling down, right? Your emotions are dysregulated. There's distorted spiritual experiences also, right, or signs of an unhealthy brain. You cannot fear what you can't fear your intuition or you cannot hear your intuition clearly when your brain is not healthy. You're not able to tap into your intuition when your mind is not working properly. You understand? You don't have a stable brain, you don't have a healthy brain, right? As I said, the brain is a hardware and your consciousness is that entity that uses your brain to actually operate in a form of awakeness. To be an awoke, you need to have a healthy brain, healthy consciousness, right? So let's talk about spiritual awakening and rewiring the brain. How it rewires the brain? Deep spiritual practices change your brain in measurable ways, in many ways, and you can actually measure these ways, right? Like, for example, meditation, right? This is actually the foundation of spiritual awakening is meditation. Increases your gray matter in your hippocampus, right? Now you have hippocampus is your memory and your learning center, a very important part of who you are. Your hippocampus of the brain is a very active, important part of who you are because it holds your memory and your learning. It is the power center of your entire brain, right? So it also strengthens the prefrontal cortex, right? For focus and decision making. Your prefrontal cortex, when it is damaged, you have a problem with focusing and memory and making decisions, right? Not memory, but making decisions. The memory one is in your hippocampus. Your frontal cortex is your focus and your decision making center, right? Which is somewhere here in front, your decision and your focus center. Okay, and then we have the other one we're talking about. We spoke about the gray matter, right, of the memory center. Okay, now your brain is very important, as I said. So I was breaking it down in terms of all the areas of the brain that are important for us, and in terms of our personalities, our expression, how we express ourselves. Okay, meditation is important. It affects and increases the gray matter in your hippocampus, which is your memory center. Number two, I said it strengthens the prefrontal cortex, which is focusing your decision making center, and reduces activity, right? Or reduces activity in amygdala, which is fear and reacting to fear, the flight and fight a mode of consciousness, being fearful, basically, right? Feeling under threats. It triggers the flight and fright and flight mechanism in your brain. So you're either gonna fight or you're gonna run. You understand? So yeah, that's when you're feeling under attack. That's the reason why a healthy brain is not when you are under fear. If you're living in survival, that means your brain is not balanced. It's meaning that you are living in fear, right? So let's talk about compassion and gratitude practices, which is also important. So meditation is important, and so is compassion and gratitude practices. It also helps the brain. And I had no idea about that, right? But now I've learned something new when I was doing the research. Compassion and gratitude practice. That's why every single spiritual teacher is teaching people to have gratitude and compassion, to meditate and still your mind, to go within yourself, to focus yourself within yourself, to have compassion and gratitude for yourself and for others. I mean, be grateful and have compassion, right, for yourself and for others. Very important for me, for brain health, right? Very important. Let's explain how it works. So when you have compassion and gratitude practices, right, when attitude or a lifestyle, it increases oxytocin and serotonin, right? If I'm pronouncing it right. Oxytocin is a hormone of happiness, right, and calmness, and serotonin as well. Very good hormones that actually calm us down and make us feel more happier. So when you do the compassion and gratitude practices, you're able to make yourself happy and feel more comfortable with yourself and your life experience, right? And that's how it actually, gratitude practices actually uh, trigger oxytocin and serotonin, right? To be expressed from your body into the rest of the body, into your mind, from the mind centers to the rest of the body, right? So strengthening the neural pathways and emotional stability, right? So remember that a happy person is somebody who's always grateful, somebody who has a practice of gratitude and compassion for herself or himself, okay? Then mystical awakening experiences as well can also cause the brain, I mean, help with this whole awakening experience, because the mystical and awakening experiences are part of your awakening experience. Reducing default network, right? Reducing default mode network activity, like ego softens. So your ego will now reduce, right? That's one of the mystical experiences. When you become awoke and have an awakening experience, your ego will just kind of diminish. It won't be the center of your being, the center of your existence anymore. It just reduces. Okay. And then it also enhances brain's ability to integrate meaningful symbolism and intuition as well. Right? Interesting stuff, guys. Increase coherence between left and the right hemisphere. Right? It increases the coherence between the left and the right hemisphere of your brain. Very important to know how important your brain is in your awakening, because without a healthy brain and a healthy sense of self, you're not able to have a connection with your intuition. And tapping into your intuition is very important to the process of awakening. That's why it's very important for you to take care of your brain health. Your mental health is important, right? And I know it's been all over social media, it's been all over mass media about how important it is to have mental health. It's very important. It's not something that's only based on understanding psychology, but also understanding yourself on a day-to-day capacity. You just going to work, you just operating every day in life. You need to have a stable mind. You need to have a healthy mental capacity in life, to cope in life, to operate in life. Being able to go to work, being able to live your life as positive as possible and achieve all your goals and your ambitions. Right? Very important to have a healthy mind. Mental health is very important, right? And I think they need to show more of that type of content online to teach people the importance of mental health. To teach people the importance of mental health, right? Because without mental health, you cannot operate here very well. You cannot have a good life experience if your mental health is unbalanced and not healthy, okay? Now, awakening supports cognitive longevity, which is quite interesting. Stress reduction protects the hippocampus. When you reduce your stress, you protect your brain. That's why it's important for you to, what they call it, manage stress, as they call it. Right? You need to reduce your stress because it protects your hippocampus, which is very important because it's your problem solving center, your executive function planning center. Your hippocampus is very important. Learning memory center as well. Very important for you to manage your stress, as they call it, or reduce your stress. And I know we live in a stressful world. Sometimes it's not possible, but you need to work on it, because then you're helping your brain health. You're preventing yourself from having mental cognitive decline. Like you will get diseases like dementia or even Alzheimer's if you don't take care of your brain because of the stress you have in your life. Learn to calm down and move yourself from a place of survival to thrival. You must thrive in peace. Very important. Mindful protection of the prefrontal cortex, as I said early on, which is about mindful meditations. When you do mindful meditations and live mindfully and be conscious in your everyday moments, it helps to protect your brain, your prefrontal cortex, right, which is part of a very important part of your identity. Right, I know because I'm somebody who had a head injury, right? But fortunately for me, the areas of my brain that was damaged was not the part that controls my executive problem solving areas. It doesn't control my memory as well. So I was kind of fortunate in that way. So I know the importance of a healthy brain and how important your brain is to you, right? Purpose and meaningful protection against dementia is very important because awakening supports your brain health as well, right? But firstly, you need to have a healthy brain, a stable consciousness, right? But as you get awakening and you become more aware of yourself and who you are, and start loving and embracing yourself, you also help yourself from having mental decline later on in your life, okay? Later on, as you get older, everything deteriorates, right? However, we have a means and ways to actually protect our brains and our bodies from declining and becoming too exhausted or sick in that sense. So we get physical sickness, we have mental sickness. The mental sickness is based on your brain, right? Your brain waves and your brain health. People need to know this at an early age This should be taught in schools, not only in medical school, but in high school. It should be taught about mental health, brain health. Very important. Unlike people like myself who learned about these things later in our lives, this should be in our school curriculum. Right? Our children should be learning about these things, how important your brain is, what alcohol and smoking does to your brain on a high level, in depthly. Now, what we just know vaguely, okay, they tell us that smoking is not good for you, but they're not saying, like, why is it not good for you? How does smoking and alcohol at a young age prevent your frontal cortex from developing? Because it takes a while. Remember, only by the age of 20, 25, actually, your frontal cortex is fully developed. And then people are indulging in alcohol and drugs in school, in high school, as teenagers. So by the time you get to 25 years old, you've really stifled or you stopped your growth of your frontal cortex. You have compromised yourself, your mental capacity, right? You have compromised it because of a lifestyle, because of choices that are not good for you. Now, spirituality is one of the strongest predictors of emotional resilience. Number one. Number two, slower cognitive decline. When you have a spiritual belief and a purpose, you have emotional resilience. You're strong emotionally because you have a strong belief, you have a compass, you have something to live for, you have a purpose. Because when you become awoke, you also discover your purpose because you understand who you are. You understand who you are. So it helps you with emotional resilience, number one. Number two, slows down the cognitive decline of your brain and your mental health, right? Better memory as well, because your memory also expands, because there's a sense of expansion when you become awakening to who you truly are. You do expand on all levels, spiritually and also physically. Your body gets more healthy and expanded, and so does your consciousness, so does your brain. Very important, right? So your memory also gets better, and you have a longer lifespan because you got something to live for. You understand your purpose. Now you know that you're not just drifting in life. You know that you have a purpose here. You came here to achieve something real in life, not just to be a victim of life, but you learn that you're even a creator of your own life experience. Now you're owning yourself. That's the empowerment of being awoke and going through the awakening experience, which is outside of religion. Okay, religion is important as a foundation. It teaches you about that there is a God, that there is rules of engagement in its place, that there's something called bad things and good things, things like that. There's life and death you learn in the spiritual level, right? But religion is not the end of your experience. You need to evolve further than religion, and learn about spirituality and understand the whole journey of Jesus Christ or Yeshua. Understand, what does the Bible tell me? What does it mean to me as an individual? Because Jesus Christ consciousness, Yeshua was here and he taught and he left, and now I'm here. What am I understanding? Spirituality makes you understand the deepness of who you are in connection to the teachings of Yeshua, aka Jesus Christ. You understand? It makes you understand you are not neglecting love when you go follow spirituality, not neglecting Jesus. You are now connecting more to his message, and the other ascended masters, other people that came here to teach. Outside of Christianity, there's other ascended masters who came to teach us and make us aware of who we are. So when you become aware, you become curious, you want more information. The more information you get, the more light you get within yourself. Your heart opens. You understand yourself. You begin to love yourself and love others. That's the gift of awakening, guys. Right? It's outside of religion. Religion's good, yes, it's a foundation, it's a platform. If you look at it this way, if you know the chakra system, religion is the basis, is the foundation, is the root chakra of who you are. You are divinely created by God. It says in the Bible that you are created in the image of God. That's the roots of who you are. But there's so many other aspects of you that needs to be developed, right? So my channel is not about demonizing religion. My channel is trying to tell you people how it's connected to your own awakening. It is a foundation of who you are. You are the creation of God, right? Then it goes further and further. But now remember, if you don't accept yourself and you only accept Jesus, but you don't accept yourself, then you are not balanced. You are not balanced. You're only accepting Jesus as a savior, but you're neglecting yourself as a mere sinner. So you're now putting yourself out of balance, because you're not a mere sinner. You were born divinely created in the image of God. How can you be a mere sinner if you created in the image of God? Jesus said in his word, right, in the New Testament, you too will do more than what I've been doing now. You too will learn and do more miracles. When you get to understand who you are, but you're not just a sinner. You are a piece of God, a fragmentation of God, an expression of God. Every single person that you walk past every day, people that you don't even acknowledge, people that you don't respect, are all God. They're all the representation of God, because they're created from God, right? That's very important to know. So spirituality teaches you about love, not only self-love and acceptance, but accepting everybody else as they are. That's what spirituality is all about, right? So let's go back to my topic. How to strengthen your brain and the brain bridge, spirit bridge. How to strengthen your brain and your consciousness, your spirit bridge. How to do that. Number one, very important, you always hear this, meditation. People that have a problem with meditation is that they are too fidgety and they cannot sit still. They need to always do something else. They don't feel safe within themselves. They always need to be touching. They need to be doing something. And I know that your mind normally, every single person's mind, if you meditate or not, you always have thoughts. That's how our mind, our brain, and our mind is actually geared. So you have thoughts right through, because that's what we are. We are thoughts. You are nothing but thoughts. Your thoughts are everything. Everything that you think about life and believe about life is what you are creating. So it's like a machine. You understand? You are constantly having these thoughts about yourself and about life. And these thoughts are creating your reality, because these thoughts are also based on your worldview, on your assumptions, on your belief about who you are. Then you start creating according to those thoughts. That's why those thoughts are always coming all the time. Every experience right through the day, everything you pass when you're driving in your car or you're walking in the streets triggers a thought and an idea, right? Because that's how we are geared, right? So there's nothing wrong with a busy mind, right? However, you need to tame your mind. You need to focus your mind in meditation and be quiet and learn to watch and observe the thoughts without reacting to them. Now you become a conscious creator. You know, your thoughts are not controlling you. You are now just observing and you're aware about these thoughts. Now you know, okay, this thought is not very good. It's not a positive thought. I need to change it. You understand? Because now when you are meditating, it gives you a high view of your mental health, what's going on in your mind. It gives you a good picture of your consciousness. Right? So that's why meditation is so important. Every spiritual teacher is teaching people meditation. Some people say you don't need to meditate. That's fine. If they can then learn to be more aware and mindful without meditation, then good for them. And remember, there's different types of meditations. Once you sit down, different techniques. There's one where you stand, you can even stand and meditate. You can walk and meditate. You can lie down and meditate. Meditation is all about focusing. It's a focus. Now we normally use your breath as your anchoring point. Your breath, you're breathing in and you're breathing out, because you are nothing but the breath. Because without the breath, your body cannot live, right? Your breath is very important. So meditation makes you appreciative of your breath, because you are now focusing on your breath. You're breathing in and you're breathing out, and you're actually feeling your breath. You're being very aware of your breath, and now you are actually telling source, I am aware of myself. Because without breath, I am nothing really. Without the breath of life, I'm nothing. I need the oxygen. I need to breathe. This body needs to breathe. Okay, right. So back to my topic. Right, so deep breathing, as I said, I mentioned just now, is important. Deep breathing, breathing in and breathing out, regulates the nervous system. That is why when people are full of anxiety attack, the first thing they tell you is calm down, okay? Take a deep breath in, you are safe, and tell yourself you are safe. And you breathe out nicely and slowly. That's why it's important, because it regulates your nervous system. We are nothing but nerves and bloods and bone, right? So the nerves are very important. When we feeling under attack and feeling unsafe, right? We have a problem. We need to calm down, because now we're feeling unsafe, and that means that everything feels like you've been attacked. like you're an animal being hunted. So you need to calm down. So breathing, deep breathing or breathing practices or pranayama as they call it in the East, regulates your nervous system and opens your intuitive perception, because now you're in shock, you're afraid, right? You close up, you can't think straight. Even your higher self cannot connect with you. Even God cannot reach you because you close yourself out. That's why you need to take a deep breath and breathe in and then breathe slowly out, right? And kind of focus on yourself, right? To ground yourself as well. Of course, it opens your intuitive perceptions. Now you can connect to your guides and maybe to God or Jesus, whatever you believe in, or whatever you believe in, now you're able to get the messages because now you're more calmer. Now your heart starts pumping less faster until it normalizes. Now you keep on telling yourself, I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe right here in my body. Okay. Positive talk is very important when it comes to awakening and strengthening your brain and spirit bridge. Right. Then you need purpose. Before purpose, you also need nature exposure, plants, the water, the beach, the ocean, the forest. That energy is very grounding, or even just walking barefoot around your house or outside while you're doing gardening. If you're privileged to have a garden and you can garden while you're doing gardening, have your feet in the ground, have your hands in the sand. Now you're going back to nature, you're connecting with Mother Gaia, right? It's also cleansing you. It's cleansing you. It's cleansing you as well. That's why that's the gift of nature. Or go for a swim in the beach, right? Walk on the sea sand, right, with your barefoot and really feel the ground under your feet. Get yourself grounded, or even sit and meditate by the beach and feel the breeze. Or go into the water and have a swim. Excuse me, all these things are very important. Connecting with nature. Or go do some tree hugging. Hold a tree in the forest. Feel the tree. You know what I mean? Because it's that energy that you can get from the tree to calm you down and balance your energies. Excuse me. Very important to know that nature is our medicine. Nature is our medicine. So you don't just go to the beach for the swimming. You also gonna get some medicine. You're gonna get connect with nature. It's gonna heal you from a what you call level, from a physical level. It's gonna heal you on a spiritual level as well. I see a lot of people go to the beach during festive time. That's not the best time to go to the beach. Go to the beach when it's quiet, when there's not a lot of people. It's just you and maybe a few other people. You can actually focus. The consciousness is nice and clear. In the festive period, especially in places like KZN, Durban Beach, even Cape Town, it's so busy. You cannot really, there's too much energy, people's energies. People that are fearful, people that are full of anxiety and stuff like that, right? So the best time to go to the beach is not during the festive time. It's during the time when it's very quiet, when you can actually feel and hear yourself thinking. You can feel your breath and hear yourself thinking, and you're not distracted by people's noise and all the chaos that happens during the festive period when people go on holiday to the beaches, right? So it's important to know that. Deep breathing, spending time in nature, as I said, spending time in nature boosts your brain, what you call capacity, grounds your energy and your body, grounds you. And then you need purpose and meaning in your life. Everybody needs purpose and meaning in your life. A powerful protection against age-related cognitive decline. Apparently, people that don't, or elderly people that don't have purpose and meaning in their lives anymore, are more prone to have things like dementia or Alzheimer's, because it's cognitive decline. Right? When you feel like your life doesn't have any meaning anymore, and this goes on for days and months, maybe for like a long period of time, you start getting depressed. Okay, now your brain is not now wiring because you don't have a purpose. Remember that you tell your body everything when you are feeling bad about yourself, right? You feeling bad about life, you're telling your body that no, we're not having good time here. right? This is a place of suffering. Then your body starts reacting accordingly. You start manifesting. It's all about manifesting the experience of depression, and then you fall into depression, and then it affects your mental health, and then you're full of anxiety, and you're fearful, and all those things. It's very important to know that, right? You need purpose and meaning in life and groundedness in life. Okay. Then another thing is nutrition and plant-based lifestyle can also help you. Apparently, plant-based lifestyle is more healthier than the carnivore lifestyle, according to mental health, apparently, right? So yeah, you get people giving different researches, and currently this is a major kind of argument or debate now online, right? People are speaking about the carnivore diet. Is it more healthier, or is it the plant-based diet? Is it more healthier? You understand? And remember that carnivore diet is different varieties, and in the plant-based diet there's a different varieties as well, right? Now I love the plant-based diet, right? I'm very into nutrition and health and stuff like that, right? But I don't think we should be arguing about all these things, because again, it's your choice. But then science has proven that a plant-based diet is good for mental health. Okay, except for the fact of it, you need some omega-3s, which you can get from fatty fish as well. But now you can take supplements. Okay, that's why a lot of vegans, long-term vegans, are moving to taking supplements, which feel like omega-3 supplements and stuff like that, which is because of their mental health capacity that's been declining. Right. So remember, when you're too extreme, as I always speak about extreme points, if it's too extreme, becomes a problem. You need to find some middle path when it comes to everything in life. Don't be too extreme. Don't be like, okay, I don't eat plants. I think that plants are not good for me. I'm only gonna eat meat. I think that human beings must only eat meat, and you only stick in that point. And then yeah, it causes problems. That's too extreme. You need to find a middle path and understand that there's gray areas. You are in gray areas, meaning that yes, maybe copious amounts of red meat is not healthy, right? But fish, certain types of fish are also okay, but certain amounts, not copious amounts of fish, because certain fish are not good for you. You understand? Like sardines, not sardines, tuna. Tuna has some sorts of chemical that's not good for you, right? If you eat too much tuna, all fish that eat other fishes, you know what I mean? They actually create some sorts of chemical which is not good for human consumption, and tuna is one of them. You understand? So these are things you get to understand when it comes to a health and wellness. Food, you need to do your info your research, but they say that a nutrition and plant-based lifestyle is also benefits, support neural health, and cleanse the energy channels. And I can explain that, right? Okay, you need fiber. Firstly, plant-based has different varieties. You can get a plant-based diet, which is like vegan type, which is more about refined things like eating pizzas and all those things, right? And then you get a plant-based diet where you're eating legumes and beans, and you're only eating vegetables, like raw whole vegetables, right? You're not eating too much processed foods. Now, your body thrives on fiber. Apparently, the digestive system is a fix of your mental health. When your digestive system is not healthy for long term, it affects your mental health. You may then have maybe mental cognitive decline. You get like dementia, you get Alzheimer's, because your digestive system is linked to your brain health, which is quite an interesting topic, right? And there is research around that. That's why it's important for you to understand. You need to eat food that's full of fibers, good for your digestive system and your stomach biome, because your immune system is important to your mental health. Your stomach is part of your immune system, right? So you need to eat things like fruits and vegetables full of fiber, balanced. And if you're going to eat some meat, don't eat copious amounts of meat, right? Balance it out. As I said, find a middle part if you can. All right. These two extremes sometimes can be a problem. It's great, yes, you want to be a raw vegan. I love raw veganism. It's a good way of living. However, it can be too extreme, because at the end of the day, you now telling yourself, I cannot have anything else. If you happen to even fall sick and you're a raw vegan, it becomes a problem. You need to come find a middle part again. To find a middle part to say, okay, I can have maybe a piece of fish, maybe twice a month or something like that. Because when you are too enmeshed in something in your life or your identity is around this whole raw veganism becomes a problem. That's not your identity. It is a lifestyle. It's a choice you made. It's not you, right? You are not raw vegan or veganism. You have made a choice to eat like that. Same as opposite. If I'm talking about, if I talk about maybe people who are carnivore, you are not a carnivore per se. You made a choice to eat in that way. It's a life choice. It's a lifestyle. It's not who you are. When you start now identifying yourself as that thing, when something goes wrong and you get sick, right? You get sick because you're lacking some vitamins that are found in vegetables, and now you have really demonized vegetables and saying that no, the true human food is meat. Then you get sick, and then you get to now your doctor says you need to implement some veggies in your eating, or maybe some legumes or something in your eating plan, and you can't because now you've really identified yourself as a pure carnivore. I'm a carnivore, I only eat meat. And then now what I eat now, meat, cheese, and a lot of butter. That's what I am. And then you get sick because you're too extreme, you're out of balance. You need to find a middle path and understand there's gray areas when it comes to health. And this also affects your mental health. What you put in your mouth affects your mental health because it affects your digestive system. Your digestive system is connected to your mental health. Very important to know that. When I found out that, I found it astonishing because I've always been focused on eating healthy for the last, say, can say 30 years, right? Not 30 years, maybe 20 years. I've been focusing on eating healthy. The older I get in age, the more my higher self is focusing on eating more plant-based foods, to eat more healthy foods, to meditate, to fast, to have times of rest, to sleep well, right? I'm called to do more of that because of my mental health. It's good. You need to understand that dementia and Alzheimer's are things that are connected to lifestyle, not only your DNA, it's in your family bloodline. Your lifestyle can overrun all that, right? Because the chances of you getting certain illnesses because it's in your bloodline can be overcome by changing your lifestyle, simple, and your perception. Now, mental health is based on a lot of things. Nutrition, yes. Exercise, number two. Okay. Now, I will speak more about that. Very important, right? Then emotional and release and shadow work. Very important for you to let go of heavy feelings, let go of pain, let go of disappointments, let go of heavy emotions because it helps your mental capacity. It gives you a healthy brain capacity. Your cognitive health is more better. It's more positive when you are letting go. That is why meditation is important. Because meditation allows you to watch your thoughts, number one, to understand yourself, number two, better, to understand what's holding you back, to understand the pain, right? And you're owning your pain because you cannot deny it. So meditation forces you to face yourself, to face your shadow. That's why it's important to use meditation as a tool when you are trying to connect the brain health, the bridge between the brain health and your awakening. Very important to know that. Let's continue right now. We spoke about emotion release and shadow work. Understanding your shadows is important. Clears trauma stored in the brain, right? And the body circuits, opens intuitive gifts, right? So when you are doing shadow work and releasing old emotions like pain and disappointment and hurt, you are allowing your circuits to be opened, right? The trauma that's stored within your body and your brain is now allowed to release and leave you, right? To cleanse you out. It opens your intuitive gifts as well. Your intuition, right, cannot be active when you're living in fright and fight. Was it flight or fright? Flight or fight? Sorry, flight or fright. You want to say or fight? Fright or fight. You either fight or you run. Okay. So when you're living like that, then your intuition closes, meaning that you're not able to even think clearly. So you're not able to connect to higher realms. Now, your intuition is meaning you're connecting to something much higher than the physical self, right? So it's important to know that. Mindful consumption of social media. This is very important in the information and social media age that we are in now. Mindful consumption of social media is important. Be aware of what you are consuming, which type of content you're consuming, right? If it's not making you feel good, then you shouldn't be watching it. Shouldn't be listening to it. If it's not making you feel happy about yourself and make you feel curious about life, then you shouldn't be consuming it, right? If it's making you feel scared, somewhat makes you feel uncomfortable, you shouldn't be consuming that content. It protects and you need to protect your attention span. Sorry. So when you are mindful about consumption of social media, it helps to protect your attention span, prevent spiritual disconnection, right, with yourself. Because I mean, your intuition is gonna tell you when you look at a video and it makes you feel somewhat uncomfortable, then your higher self is trying to tell you that this type of content is not for you. Don't force it, because then you find at the end of the day, it's going to bring down your frequency. It's going to bring down your frequency, right? Then the next step was spiritual awakening is not just energetic. It is also biological, it's neurological, and psychological. So, spiritual awakening is not just spiritual; it's biological. It affects your psychology as well, and it affects your brain. Right? Your brain evolves, your consciousness expands, your spiritual perception heightens, your cognitive clarity strengthens as well. These things are very important, right? All right, so you need to understand these things, right? Remember that your brain is important. Brain health is connected to mental health. Your brain is the organ, okay? Your mental health is your consciousness, is the energy that's coming from those thoughts, of those brain waves, how you are treating your brain, you understand? That kind of thing. So it's important to know that you have control over your own evolution spiritually, right? Brain health is very important, right? So to end up with what a few more uh, truths here, right? Now, habits for brain health. Let's speak about habits for brain health. Now we spoke about everything about brain health and your awakening. Now let's speak about the good habits for good brain health. Number one, physical activity. Moderate walking, moderate aerobic activity, strength training is important. Balance and flexibility exercises is important as well, right? Like those resistance exercises for brain health. Number two, eating a brain healthy foods, right? Now, these include the Mediterranean diet, which includes fish, some fish, like fatty fish, right? Mind diet. Mind diet is leafy greens, berries, nuts, seeds, olive oil or olives, fatty fish, for the omega 3s, whole grains as well. Then foods to avoid would be highly processed foods, excessive sugar and processed sugars, right? And trans fats. Now, as I said, that your digestive system is really part of your brain health, right? Your digestive system is your stomach lining as well, and your stomach in general, right? So it affects your brain health, right? Then number four, prioritize sleep, means sleep more. Put sleep as a priority in your life, right? In your day-to-day life. Sleep at least 7 to 9 hours a night, right? Sleep early. They call it sleep hygiene. They even measure the hours you sleep and the quality of your sleep that you have. There's even apps to do that now, right? Because sleep hygiene is important to mental health, right? To prevent cognitive decline. And then challenging your brain is the last one. You need to also challenge your brain, learning something new, doing puzzles, right? Mental stimulation, and have mental stimulating conversations. Watch content online that really challenges you, and makes you learn something new, something exciting, not only just entertainment, but also something that you can learn. You understand? You got to challenge your brain continuously. And then the last one is managing your stress. Now, we live in a very stressful world, right? So what we cannot get rid of stress But how do we respond to stress is how we manage it. That's what I mean by managing your stress. We cannot get rid of stress, but we know how to respond to it, not react, but to respond to the stresses in our life. Now we're managing it. We know it's there. Now we're creating strategies and steps to actually manage the stress. More sleep, taking breaks at work, deep breathing, stand up and walk around if you have a job where you sit all the time like myself. Go out for a walk, go outside for a few minutes, take a break, not a smoke break, but take a break where you're gonna take a breath break. So you take a deep breath. I like to use the toilet breaks as a way of me also having some time to gather myself back to myself. I go to the toilet, look at myself in the mirror, I take a deep breath in, a deep breath out, I anchor myself within myself, I pull myself back to myself, because now I've got work, it's all the stress, it's meetings, it's deadlines, it's problems, it's challenges of work, all these things, right? So I have to gather myself. Now, because I'm not somebody that's able-bodied, I just go to my bathroom and I just go chill out there because I don't share with nobody else, right? Which is a good thing for somebody who has a disability. You're always in a minority, so you only have like a toilet, nobody else is gonna come and interrupt your time there, right? So you should sit there, look in the mirror, breathe in, breathe out, just 2 minutes, 3 minutes of that. Collect yourself back together and tell yourself that you're well, that you're safe, that all is well, that everything can be achieved, that every problem has a solution, that every challenge is meant to be overcome, that I have the power to do so. I remind myself who I am. Very important that now people think that meditation needs to be this long thing of you sitting quiet. Not necessarily. You can do 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes of just breathing in and gathering yourself until you feel safe and gathered. Then you now feel safe and well to face the world again, and you go out. I do that, and I also do my morning meditation, which is about 15 minutes to 20 minutes a day in the morning. And in the evening, I do another meditation again. I do actually two in the evening these days. I do like when I finish have my bath before I eat, and then do another meditation again hours after I ate before I get into my bed. So I keep on coming back to myself, because I am important to myself. My mental health is very important, right? It's good to know that, guys. You need to manage your stress and keep your hippocampus healthy. Your hippocampus is that center of yourself. That's very important. Okay, you need to know that, right? So if you like the topic, and you like the topic that I'm talking about mental health and how it's linked to your spiritual awakening, right? Remember that your brain is the hardware, right? Your consciousness, the energy that makes you who you are, is now using your brain to awake you. Your brain is part of you, same as your body. Your body is part of your subconscious mind, right? Your body must be healthy for you to be able to have a healthy awakening, that you don't suffer from what we call psychosis, right? Don't be too extreme. Extremists are not healthy. You need to find a middle part and find something that works for you. Don't bastardize things. Understand that everything has a certain place in life. Everything is valid, right? So go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you have not as yet. If you're interested in self-awareness and self-development and spiritual practices, right? So again, I'm Sissy, life coach, motivational speaker, and I hope that this topic was insightful. If you want more information, go ahead and do the research in Google, or ask me questions, and maybe you want me to make a live on some other topic related to awakening. Right, so guys, have a great day, and enjoy this new week that's coming now, because it's Sunday, right? As we go closer to festive period, as I spoke about yesterday, to be very aware about your festive activities and your spending, and be safe at this time. As you're shopping, be a conscious shopper, right? Be aware of where your wallet is. Be aware of your surroundings. When you go to the ATM, be aware of your surroundings and stuff like that, so that you're not able to be robbed or duped. Okay, people taking your money. Okay, remember that you are a powerful being, and everything is created by you. You are a creator. You're creating your life day by day, moment by moment. You are a creator. Okay, so have a great week further, and be kind to yourself and kind to others as well, as we get closer to Christmas Day. So enjoy the festive period, right, and be safe.